So for this video, I'm just going to be discussing sort of the schedule that I have planned for the different video content. And what I mean by that is not a schedule as in the release schedule so much as the content that I already have planned for doing videos. I'll post a graphic up on the screen so you guys can take a look at it. But generally what I've done is I've been making notes. The whole process of planning to move to the Philippines was about a 2-year long process before I was on a plane moving here. I have been here a few times before, so I had a good understanding of what to look for. But really what it comes down to is I needed to make a list of everything, all the different steps of the process of the very first part of just deciding, is now a time to retire? Is now a time to retire overseas as opposed to staying in my home country? Once I decided, yes, I wanted to go overseas, then it's which country do I go to? And just start narrowing it down from there. A lot of different factors. So for me, the best way to put this information out there to you guys is to create videos and post them in a logical order so that if you start watching the videos from the beginning, you're going to have all the information that you need in the proper order that you're going to be using that information. You're just putting one piece of the puzzle, right after another. You're not just jumping all over the place. So I've got this whole entire schedule pretty much planned out. And the way that I broke it down that makes it easier for me to categorize it, organize it, is I broke everything into phases. Each phase is sort of one big chunk of the process. And there's multiple stages of the process, so multiple phases. Within each phase, I've got multiple stages. Each stage is essentially a specific topic that I'll be discussing. So on that chart, each stage that's in there is going to be a specific video covering a very specific topic. Instead of sitting here talking for 45 minutes or an hour and a half and covering a whole bunch of different information, that might make it difficult for people to go to just the spots that they want to find information about. If I'm covering 3 or 4 topics in one video, you might have to skip forward and bounce around through a video to find the part you need. I just felt that it was easier that each individual video will be about a specific topic, so you can bounce around, you can skip the videos you don't want to watch or you don't care about, and then you can just watch whatever you need to. One thing though is some of those videos that I have marked there, it's going to be like a multi-part. So for example, when I'm talking about budget, I'm going to do one video which I'm going to be showing a Excel spreadsheet template of the budget that I use for myself. But the data that's filled into that budget is just going to be random information, realistic information, but it's not going to be my information. I'm just going to be explaining it as the format and just generally talking about planning your budget in general. Then I'm going to follow up with a second video for that, which I'm actually going to be showing my own personal budget. So some of those videos will be more than just one video. It'll be broken up into sections, make it easier for you guys to watch. Some of you guys might want information on a budget, examples of what things might cost. But honestly, you don't care what my budget is. Because of that type of topic, I'm pretty sure most people will be interested in what my own budget is compared to my living situation. But, just be aware that some of those videos will be multi-part. Another thing is that chart is just showing the main primary schedule of the entire topic of moving over here. There is certain information that is not in that schedule. So at the beginning, before I even get to any of those videos, there are some topics that I'm going to have to discuss beforehand. One of them obviously is the whole COVID issue and how that's affecting international travel. So if you start watching these videos before the international restrictions are lifted, that video will help you understand what the restrictions are and what you're going to be looking at as far as the timeline of actually being able to travel here and live here. I'm also going to be doing several videos breaking it down to pretty much cover my own background, my history. I've seen a lot of other channels where guys will just sit there and do 15 to 30-minute videos discussing their story, their life, and a lot of people watch those videos. So from what I can see, people are interested in hearing stories about other guys' lives and to really kind of try and figure out what caused that person, for whatever reason, to decide to retire and move overseas. For me, I'm not really interested in interviewing other people or telling stories about my past, because a lot of that information is just not going to be relevant to people moving here. Right now, my focus is getting information out there to help people move here. But there is certain information about my past, my work history, part of military service, different factors that played a major role in certain decisions that I made, all leading up to where I am now, the situation that I'm in now. The reason that I'm willing to share this information and be completely candid and honest and open about all of it is because from what I can determine is if people are able to know this information about me, they will have a better understanding of why I had to make certain decisions, why I made certain decisions when and how I did, and what led me to be in the situation I'm in now. Because let's face it, I'm not in amazing financial status. I have certain limitations that other people might not be in. There are also probably going to be some people that have had similar circumstances and they might already currently be in those situations. They might be looking for answers on how can I deal with this, how can I get out of these problems, and hopefully my information, even if it's not exactly what other people are dealing with, it'll kind of be a baseline where they can at least use that to help them deal with their own situation. And other people just might find it interesting, entertaining, whatever, to hear why other people moved here. So there's going to be a bit of that information before I do the main schedule. I've also got a couple videos that I need to do with terminology, geography, transportation, shopping. There's certain terminology that are going to be useful to know first, so that as I'm doing all these other videos in the future, when I start discussing certain terms, certain places, you'll have an understanding already of what those are, so you don't have to stop the video and try and figure out what I'm talking about. You'll already have that understanding as long as you watch those videos. They're not going to be very long, but they're going to be very informative and very useful to you guys. Those videos generally, though, are going to apply specifically to here in the Philippines. Some of it might be similar in places like Thailand, but for the most part, those terminology videos are going to be specifically for here in the Philippines. There are also some topics that I would like to discuss, but due to timing and different issues, I'm not going to be able to bring them up right now. I'm not going to be able to do videos about it right now because things are still ongoing. For example, getting married here. I would like to do a video that kind of covers the whole getting married in the Philippines process. Unfortunately, the paperwork that is required to get married here, one of those papers you can only get from the U.S. Embassy. I'm an American, so I have to go to the U.S. Embassy to get this paper. The U.S. Embassy is currently closed for that service due to the COVID, quarantine, lockdowns, etc. So it could be several months before I'm able to get that one single document to allow us to go through the marriage process. So I'm not going to be able to do the marriage video until quite a while. But any information that I can find that's going to be useful to you guys, I'll go ahead and put in all these different videos. Again, if you are finding these videos useful, if you're wanting to continue watching them, please subscribe so that we can build this channel up and make it available to as many people as we can. Really that's one of those big things, is trying to get this out there. If you're just kind of watching this, but you're kind of on the fence about retiring over here, but you also know somebody, either in one of your Facebook groups, your chat groups, or an old buddy of yours, if you know somebody that's interested in this information, go ahead and give them the information to this channel so that they can start watching it and see if it's useful to them as well. I definitely appreciate you guys watching, and I'm really hoping this is going to help some people out. So thanks.